What is a director? A true director is someone that can walk into a Coca-Cola commercial, a half-hour comedy episode, an industrial film, a music video, given a set of circumstances and some kind of project, and be able to execute that particular concept to the satisfaction of a client. Mm-hmm. I'm not a director. I'm a filmmaker. A filmmaker is a very different kind of animal. A filmmaker is a person that has a very clear and concise style, intent, and message. And they do not ascribe to the orthodox or to the standardized formats by which a commercial director would need to adhere to. Yes, it's true, we both have the same coverages, and we have to do this, and the same angles and the same editing, right. But the filmmaker is much more interested in his personal state and is not really interested in what the client has intention. This also applies to screenwriting. So there are two kinds of screenwriters, and this happens in the group a lot. I don't think the group's as aware of this issue as much as they could be. There are a lot of aspiring screenwriters, and some of them want to be screenwriters for major productions, major television shows, major lots like Paramount, Warner Bros., etc. And other ones just want to, excuse me about that, other ones just want to write scripts and ideas that they would produce themselves. The formatting is extremely different. And the reason why is this. Back in the beginning of talkies, roughly probably by the 30s, certainly into the 40s, they began to see which films were selling more. And then these great writers, who they hired the best at that time, figured out, well, wait a minute here. These particular films all did very well. And these particular issues and events happen on very specific moments in the film. Remember, the silent film Napoleon is 35 hours long. Okay, so before this period of time, it was just a wide open thing. Your film could be 5 minutes, it could be 30 hours long. So they began to standardize what the best script format was as a layout in terms of gross profits. Okay, right, and that began to be taught in colleges. Here is the format that works best. And then all those students who learn it as if it's gospel. And then suddenly over time, now people are absolutely convinced that this is the only way to write a script. And anytime they read something that does not adhere to that specific format, they get nervous or upset or frightened by it and say, that's wrong. What you're doing is wrong. That's not good writing. Then there's all these other artists that come in, painters, musicians, poets, playwrights, all these other people. My favorite, of course, would be Mamet is a great example of this, who have not gone to film school. And they just write what they see. If you were to read one of those plays, you would say, this is technically incorrect. Not just in terms of formatting, not just in terms of, but even in terms of what happens on pages, where characters come in, subplot points, all those things that are written in How to Make a Good Script Great, Save the Cat, all those things, they don't necessarily fit to that format. But yet great movies, really the truly innovative films, the ones that make you change your mind and think, have always come from the auteur.
Yeah. I feel like, so
I was almost at my point, but go ahead.
Yeah. Not to compare either of us to David Lynch, but I feel like if, based on the feedback that I've been reading from this competition, if David Lynch were to send Mulholland Drive as a screenplay
Yes.
under a different title, under an assumed name,
Yes.
they
It would
would
be
have ripped it
rejected.
apart. They
It
would
would
have
be
ripped it
rejected
apart.
immediately. Absolutely. Absolutely correct. And this is true for a lot of the great films that we've seen. So what I'm trying to say with this point is the people that are reading the scripts are the people that are reading the scripts, the professors and the people in the industry for 25 years? No, they got their interns to read them,
Yeah.
right? That's what they got. They got their interns, they got their proteges to read them, and their proteges are too early on in their lives. They don't have enough life experience to be able to recognize what is good. They can only, their mind, say what is bad. A great quote from one of my friends at Rhode Island School of Design said, "The reason why I'm going to Rhode Island School of Design is so I could tell you why my art is worth millions and your art is worth shit." And that's the only thing you learn in art school. That's it. Whether or not it's good or bad is completely irrelevant. So what these kids do is when you're sitting into Blacklist, and I've done a few different attempts with them and talked to many people. You are sending your script to someone that you have no idea what their qualifications are. Maybe they had a bad day. Maybe they have an upset stomach. Maybe they have to rush out the door. Maybe they just don't like what you're writing. And because they don't have life experience and understanding, and maybe they've never made a film, they're going to evaluate it exactly as they were taught it, point for point in school. And that's the only reference they can do. They don't have another reference to work with. So this is really good news for people that want to write pop scripts. You want to write a superhero movie, you want to write a horror flick, you want to get it sold, Blacklist is awesome. You want to be a filmmaker, you are going to get fucked. Excuse my French. You are going to get screwed. That's just a reality. And this happened when I sent my script out to a bunch of different film festivals. And it ended up on the finalist at the Bigfoot Seattle screenwriting competition, which is a very noted screenwriting competition.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, but it got 4 on Blacklist. And that's just one example because it won a bunch of awards. It got a 4 on Blacklist, and that's when it became very apparent to me. However, I will say this much. It would be very hard for me to sell my script because no one could, it's not the kind of film, I don't think, or my scripts, maybe I'm just being self-deprecating or whatever, but I don't know if they could see the movie the way I see them.